What's up? Is this
Can
Jerrod?
you hear
What's
me?
up, Jerrod? Yeah, I can hear
Yeah.
you. How you?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I'm
you can
good.
hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so how's your evening going, brother? How's everything?
It's good. It's going. You can't be hyping me up. I'm already nervous because it's 1,000 people in here.
No, actually, it's 3.8K thousand, and that's not a big deal. That's not a lot of people, Jerrod. I'm just
It's a lot for me. It's a
no,
lot
it
for me.
definitely is a lot. That it's a lot for me too, brother. Like I'm used to it, but it's still a lot at the same time. You get what I mean? If that
Man,
makes sense.
I
But
feel you.
don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. You know you in a safe space with us over here. It's not. We're gonna really pretty much. I'm gonna let you take the lead. Whatever you're pretty much willing to share. You know how I do it, Gerard. You know I'm not gonna force you into anything that you don't want to talk about. But for the people that's in here, let me go ahead and give them a backstory real quick, Gerard. So welcome, welcome,
Okay.
welcome to Charlie with the T, Charlie After Dark. So you guys, this is Gerard. If y'all do not know who he is, this is Hezekiah's dad, Angelic's baby dad. Okay, you guys. So if you do not know, he is the father of Hezekiah. Okay. So it's a little bit of feedback. Let me mute you real quick. So I brought him back. He came back. He said he wanted to definitely keep us up to date on the scoop and the things that has taken place. The first time that I interviewed him, you guys, he didn't have custody of his son. Okay. So the first time that I interviewed him, he did not have custody of his son. So the thing that has changed, the major point, the major key point in this interview is that now the good thing is that he has custody of his son. Okay? So he's going to basically share with us the transition and how it's been like and basically how it's going because I know that's a big transition. You know what I'm saying? To not have your son and then to all of a sudden have your son. It's a big deal, you guys. So let's go ahead and get it started. Let me go ahead and unmute you, brother. And I'm gonna go ahead and let you take it from the top. You go ahead and just let us know how did you go about getting your son? Like, how did that process go? And I guess just give us a little bit of background from there.
All right. Do you still hear the feedback?
No, you sound good.
Okay. 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 Um, Geez, I don't know where to start. I mean, let's go back to the last interview. I mean, the last interview, you know, I've never got to meet him. I didn't get to see him or anything. Um, and I mean, to go back to what I said before, it wasn't one of those things that I didn't want to see him. I just ran into a lot of issues with her. Um, Not going deeper into that, uh, but it's it was interesting. You know, we had court. Um, well, she had court. I was in there. Um, and you know, things transpired. And
Oh wow. So I interesting. They did have court. So hold on, y'all. Somebody must have called him. So once he comes back, okay, we can see you now. Are you back
no,
now?
my bad.
Okay,
Yeah,
here
my
we go.
bad. So we were in court. You know, things transpired. I'm not gonna get too deep into that. I'm gonna try to not. My thing is, I don't really talk bad about her, so I'm not going to try to talk bad about her. I only talk about stuff that she's already put out there. Um, and when it comes down to the court stuff, I think some of that is a little personal, so I'm not going to go that deep into that. And I'll talk from my point of view, you know, of things. And listen, it was a shock to me when they told me to go and pick him up. It was a shock to me. Um, it was, and let me say this too, because after I came out of the interview last time, I mean, people was exactly like how they should have been. Like they, you know, people said how they felt. mothers said how they were feeling. You know, I got called a deadbeat for hours. But one of the things that I did understand is people were coming from a point of, they just wanted what was best for him. Another thing is one of the reasons I was hoping that Royce will be in here is because Royce is one of the reasons, the one of the people who kind of changed my mind and made me stop thinking about myself and made me think about him. Um, so going into the courtroom, my whole thing was I was only thinking about him. Prior to that, I was praying. Um, I had prayed prior to, and I told God, I was like, listen, just let me see him. I wasn't even trying to take him home with me. I was just like, let me see him. I tried to work out something with her, to just see him. And then she basically told me no. Even
Hold,
after the
sorry, not to cut
interview.
you off. Hold on. Let me cut you at this point real quick because I want to
Okay.
make sure we get you some support. And I know you have not asked for no support, but I just saw a comment that just reminded me, brother, not to cut you off. Just keep that point. Shawnee just asked for your CA, and she's a heavy gifter. That's the reason why I'm pausing it real quick. Can you give them your CA, please? Because she wants to support you.
Before I give out a CA, I want to talk about that too because I've never, and Charlie can speak to this. I've never taken a dime for interviews. I've never taken anything at all. I've never hustled. Out of all of the hosts that came in here that I've talked to that called me on the back end, I've never asked for a dime from anybody. And a lot of these people, a lot of the hosts that was on here told me to stop blocking my blessings. And they made it very clear that people do want to support you and help you and stop blocking your blessings. So I did start I am going to use a Cash App because I'm gonna listen to people and I'm gonna stop blocking my blessings. And again, like I said before, I prayed to see him and God gave him to me. So I know that for me, just putting it out there, I'm not gonna block my blessings. Forgive me if I ain't got my I don't know I don't normally say my Cash App. I think it's JAYMO 121.
121 JAMO 121. That's correct.
Yeah.
Somebody check and see. Like
One
verify the picture on it. Go like what's your profile picture on it if you remember.
you'll know when you see it.
Okay. So y'all would know, like he
I was
said. So if you want to support him, you know where to support him at. That's his CA. So we were left off at the part you said you had went to court and you were just focused on seeing your son. And was there anything interesting that took place at court? I know you said you're not able to really
oh,
get into
oh
that.
it was listen, you can't that little step in the room, interesting stuff happens. Uh
Oh,
let me say um I was blown away by her attitude. Let me say something too because I'm about to defend. I've heard her say some stuff, and I'm about to tell you the truth. We went in front of a referee, and that referee was fair. The referee was not mean to her. She just was taking everything and she was calculating everything that was being said. These people were not mean to her. The I've heard her talk about her court appointed. Her court appointed didn't want to work with her. It's not, we've all seen how she is, and we all seen how difficult she can be. If somebody don't want to
mm,
work with her because she's being
Jesus.
difficult, that's what it is. So she made it seem like it was these people were being nasty to her. These people weren't being nasty to her. She just doesn't understand how people are trying to be concerned about these kids. And so my thing about that is these people in the courtroom was not mean to her. She just was being a bit difficult. And you can't go and the thing was she believes she can control them like she controls everything else in her life. But she couldn't control them. And that's what I think bothered her. Um
Yup.
but getting going beyond that, um, you know, they told her, they told her what they wanted to do, and she tried to make it seem like I didn't want Hezekiah. Like I didn't like how well. It doesn't matter what I don't like, but they asked me did I want to take him, even though I've never seen him. And man, it took everything outside of me to say, hell yeah, I want to see him. But I knew I was in court, so I was like, absolutely, I want him. Um, but you know what I'm saying? It ain't take nothing for me. And then they told me to go and pick him up.
Wow. So
Um,
wait. To stop you there, to pause you there. So they told you to go pick them up. What was the steps like? Did you have to? Did they have to come look at your house? Did they have to do anything like test you on anything to make sure you're like fit or anything? Like, how does that process work for the people
oh
that want to
yeah,
know?
oh yeah. So like I said before, when I was in the room when we did the interview the first time, I made sure to tell y'all I was gonna take care of stuff on the back end. I wasn't gonna run up on her. I wasn't gonna show
And
up
you did
on
just
the
that.
app everywhere. And I because I mean what I said. That's who I am. So all those years she tried to make me seem like I wasn't a certain type of person. I mean what I say. If I say I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be there. But I've refused to
Mm.
deal with bullshit. When they got to they came to the house, they checked the house, they checked my kids. Um, that's what it was. But I also want to talk about this prior to too, is it wasn't just CPS coming into my house. I had to prepare my family. So I sat down, the whole family, me and my boys and my wife, we all sat down and we had a
Oh
conversation
wow.
about Hezekiah. And we were in this together. And it was a unanimous decision that whatever happens, we want him to be in the house with us. And
Oh,
um
that's
and that
so
was actually
beautiful.
and that was actually the words from my 17-year-old who said I'm ready for it. Let him come live with us. It's not going to be easy for him, but let's see what we can do. And so I already had the support of the whole family, even going into CPS coming and checking out my house and everything. He was already fully supported before we even knew he was even going to come in the house. He was supported at I just want to see him. We had already prepared ourselves for if he just to see him. That's all we wanted as a family. We just wanted to see him. We just wanted to hug on him. That's all we wanted. Um, but let me also say this too. I don't care if you Muslim, if whatever your religion is, if you we all believe that it's a higher power, whether it's God, whether it's whoever. And if you don't believe in him, let me tell you this. I prayed and he gave me overflow. I prayed to see my son and he let my son live with me. If you don't
Mm.
believe in a higher
Won't
power,
do it.
believe in the overflow that God can give you when you believe in him. I took my faith out. I took my calculations out and I added my faith. And
Mm.
when I let go of my calculations and added my faith, he gave me him.
You better
He
preach.
gave me him. And I could have never ever made that. I could have never came up with that myself. I could have never, no matter what I did, no matter how I did it, I could have never came up. I could have never done that by myself. Um, so with that being said, yeah, they, They came out, they checked, they looked over everything, and they even talked to my boys, and my boys was straight up like, we ready to see him. So I think they were in a clear understanding that he was going to be a place that somebody cared, you know. Also, when I went in that courtroom, see, there's some things that also wasn't said in that first interview, and mostly because I wasn't in the right headspace. And
Right.
I was a little nervous, when you see those numbers go up.
Understandable.
um, I had always been trying to get to him. I was
Mm,
always being blocked. And even when you deal with court, you have to still wait on the other person. And I did a lot of waiting. And listen, and I'm a person of faith. I'm not the most faithful person, but I do understand this. When you waiting on God to do things, you just got to be patient. Um and,
amen.
and and it was hard. And it was hard. I mean, remember when before that sea got parted, he had to wait for when that Pharaoh didn't do right. What did he do? He had to wait. And he had to wait. And when God told him to move, he moved. And I truly believe that God told me to move at this moment. And I believe that a lot of the people that was on Bigo, if they would have never contacted me, I would have never been able to move when I was supposed to move. And so I know people say it's a bunch of evil stuff on Bigo, but listen, that evil stuff hasn't touched me, and because I've had people on the back end be loving, kind, understanding. I've had older women, younger women be there and get my head right. And they weren't always nice, but they don't have to be nice when you want somebody to do what's right. But beyond all of that, um, I I man, it didn't take nothing. I called my wife and I told her, they told me that we gonna be picking them up. I need to get ready to pick them up. And my wife immediately said, I'm leaving work right now. Let's go and wait.
So,
Um,
sir, so not to cut you off there because we didn't get
no, go ahead.
in depth into your marriage the last time. So I kind of want to get like a little background. Guess I really want to know what was going through your wife's mind, like when you told her about the whole angelic situation, or did she already know about it prior, or can you tell us that or no? Like that's what we want
Man,
to know.
I told my wife before we got married. The one thing I never wanted to do is I never want to side the woman that's gonna be standing next to me. She will never be blindsided by anything. I let her know everything. She
Good for you.
if when I before I married her, I gave her the understanding of, this is what I have in my life. If you can't if you choose not to, then I understand. So we had that conversation way prior too. But my wife is a understanding person, and she knows that I'm a straightforward person. So we had a lot of conversations about a lot of things before before now. So we were never blindsided by anything. And that was the situation. Um not only not only was she not only was she willing to understand, but she also gave me stipulations. It wasn't like she was just bending over backwards saying, I'll just deal with anything. It was, listen, if this is going to be how it is, I better not find no kids that's under the age of when we marry. I better not it better not be none of that. And I was very understanding to that. If she was willing to
Right,
accept that it was another kid, I needed to be understanding to, yo, I can't be out here cheating.
right.
And that's how it was. And I understood that. Um, but we waited. I mean, we waited, we waited. Listen, and I was nervous. I was nervous the whole time because I didn't know how he would react to me. I didn't know how he would be with me. Um, I was nervous for him. She had previously told him a lot of stuff about me. I don't know if it
Yep.
was true. I don't know if it was fake. But my thing is, I knew about she told him I was dead. So I already knew that there may be a little bit of trauma, it may be a little bit of that. Um, but when I saw him, I think he already knew who I was. Um, when I got there, Cooper was getting the twins situated. He was getting them ready to go. He was putting them up. And then so I think the people thought I was with him. But when I told him I was there for Hezekiah, his face lit up and it was like, you know what I'm saying? Man, I'm about to get choked up.
Let it out.
It was it was a good feeling. Um, because I was worried that he would reject me because I wasn't there. Um, that was the total opposite. He was ready to go. He was ready to go. He was actually out the door before I was. He hugged his brothers and sisters and was like, "Yo," they like, "Where you going?" And his immediate words was, "I'm leaving with my dad. I'm out." you know, he was ready to go. And I wasn't prepared for that, but I loved it. And we got him in the car and we started our relationship. And that's how we started our relationship, was meeting for the first time there. And and listen, that that first night I kissed him on the forehead, and I've kissed him on the forehead
Oh,
every single night since that day. And listen, and I don't think it's been a day gone by that I haven't told him that, yo, you the man, you gonna be great. Um, and that's just, what I'm saying. That's just a little insight to how it's been. He's been great. You know, uh, his attitude has been great. Um, I sat down with him. Uh, I didn't tell him my point of view of anything. I didn't tell him, your mom is this, your mom is that. I didn't say any of that. What I told him is, I apologize. I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't fight hard enough. I'm
oh,
sorry I wasn't there hard. I'm sorry. And that was the thing that I wanted him to understand, is that even though people was telling me I could have done more, people don't understand I was beating myself up because I was feeling like I could have done more. Uh, but again, if you believe in a higher power, believe that you can get second chances. And I said to myself, if I get a second chance, I'm not fucking this one up. And so I told him, you may have not had me for these past 8 years, but you ain't gonna ever have to worry about me not being there until the day that I die. And I let him know that he got me forever. I may have fucked up before, but you got me now. And so that has been our conversation. That's how we conversate. And I will not, and I don't let certain things get in the way of that when it comes down to me and him. Um, and again, it was some things that Roy said and that's why I said I wish he was in here, because it was some things that Roy said, and I wanted to personally tell her thank you, because if she wouldn't have said certain things, it I don't believe it wouldn't have snapped me out of a certain mindset that I was in. because I was in a
Yes. I'm
mindset of
about to
anger.
call Royce and try to get her in here when she get done with her.
Okay. Um, and my attitude was really shitty, and I wasn't doing what I should have done, which is think outside of myself. Uh, but since that moment, I've been able to me and him has been able to have a lot of conversations, and we talk every day. Uh, one of the things that I tell him now is, I'm like, is are you feeling loved? And I know he getting tired of me asking him, are you feeling love? But I don't care because I want him to know if he's not feeling love, I love him. And I'm gonna keep saying
Yes.
it to him. You know?
Yes.
Um, and that's kind of how our relationship has been so far. It's been cool.
And that's such a positive change for Hezekiah. You know what I'm saying? All change is not bad. You know what I'm saying? And this was the good change that he needed. And speaking of Hezekiah, so it sounds like he's been adjusting to his new environment. So has he had any issues with his new adjustment so far?
Um, no real issues. That's not normal. That's not normal issues. In the sense of, I'm a different type of dad. You know what I'm saying? Um, I am. I make time for my boys. So, he's had to make a little bit of adjustment where somebody is, all over him. You know what I'm saying? Because I am. I am all over him because I love him. Um, you know, uh, Anything negative? Not really. There's some things that I don't. There's some things that There's some things that I've realized that she didn't do. Um, that now I'm realizing that I have to help him with. And I'm okay with that. But behavior wise, he's been okay. But um, beyond the behavior thing, I still like he starts therapy Sunday. I still want to make sure he's going to therapy because even though he's been very open with me and continue to be open, I still want to make sure that somebody talk to him and can get something else, that maybe he's not comfortable with, because again, it's some things that we want to talk to our mom about that we wouldn't talk to our dad about. It's some things we talk to our dad about, you know, and so I don't want him to feel like he's coming in between me and his mom. So he does start therapy this Saturday. Um,
Wow.
and I think that that's something necessary. So, you know, um, and man, we not, and that's the other thing, man. I'm not gonna miss out on, I'm not gonna miss. Listen, if he needs something, I'm on top of it. You know, um, when he first got here, he was struggling a lot when it came down to school. Um, so one of the things, I did was, we read every night. We the first thing he do when he come home, we read. We work on spelling words from school. I bought flashcards so we can work on it. We even you again. There's some things that didn't happen in his house, and I get
Let me
that.
say this, good
But
job. You already going above and beyond because you just, like you just said, there's some things in the other household that was not going on. The fact that you got flashcards, whew, that's what's,
oh
I've been
yeah,
saying that. That's how I learned at that age.
we got yeah, and we make it fun. You know what I'm saying? And my rule to him and my thing to him is, if you work hard, I work hard. That's how it is. You work hard and I work hard. You work hard on reading better, and I'm gonna work hard on making sure you got what you need. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna sit here. like the other day, he felt, we were doing some work, and he felt a little defeated. And I told him, and I sat right next to him, and I said, listen, don't feel defeated. You don't feel defeated alone. We feel defeated together. And I'm gonna sit
Yes.
right here, and we gonna figure it out together. Don't ever feel like you gonna be alone. And so that's what we did. We took a break. We had dinner. We took a break. We watched a little TV, and we got right back on it. And that's what we did. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna let him have a defeated spirit, and I'm not gonna let him feel that he has to be defeated. And we gonna figure it out together. So we gonna figure it all out together. And of course with therapy too. We gonna figure it out.
Yes. And just to say this real quick, this is Royce's mom. She's just gonna fill in until Royce gets here. She's actually on the way. She's gonna be here in 20 minutes, okay, Jerrod? So you can actually say what you need to
Okay.
say.
Then let
Hello,
me say
Jerrod.
this. Hi, then let me say this to you. Um, the last time we had an interview, I was so angry. And I was angry for a lot of reasons. I didn't see my son. I had spent a lot of money in court and got nowhere. And I was angry. And then I got to see some stuff that my son's mother was doing online, and I was angry. And when I got on here and I was doing the interview, I was angry. And Royce said, that pain you feeling, imagine your son feeling like that and can't get away. And that changed the whole way that I've been thinking. Because every time I look at him, I say to myself, uh, I don't want him to ever feel that pain of being angry and upset. Uh, and I want to thank you for being able to raise a daughter who can help somebody change their mind when they are at their lowest. Thank you. If I can't say it to her, I'm going to say it to you. Thank you.
I receive that, my love. Thank you. I receive that. Thank you so much. And that's what it takes, a lot of communication. Words hurt, but they also can make change. So I
Yep.
receive that. I receive that, sir.
And and again, man, I hear people say the app can be evil, but let me tell you, it's as evil as you make it. Because I had mothers on the back end call me. I've had other hosts call me. I've had other hosts check me. And let me say this, they know who they are. I did buy my wife flowers, and I did apologize. I don't have to say who, who they know who they are when I say that. I've had people come to me and mentally help me, through some things and check me. And I receive that. I'm not the one to take to hear somebody call me out and think that I'm better than being called out. And I'm glad. Most of them was women. Most of them was women who called and checked me. And all I got to say to that is, thank you. Because when I wasn't on my square, when I wasn't standing in my square, y'all checked me. And I'm cool with that. It made me I think all of that prepared me for when he walked into that house.
From one parent to the next, we don't get the manuscript on how to parent. We don't get an instruction manual. I was a young mother.
That's right.
Okay. I was very young. And my mom and my sister would take a lot of control from me. If I chastised my kids, there was a voice that said, "Don't hit her." If I got upset with my kids, there was a voice that always said, don't talk to her like that." They wouldn't let me raise my children. So it took for me to get to the point where I am today. so that they can understand that our mom, it took a lot of work, and we still have issues. But what we do have is an understanding on who I am to them, who they are to me, and that the love that we share. Everything that my mom didn't do for me, and I felt as though it was in a negative light, I didn't want to do it to my kids.
That's
And
right.
that's so I had to take the feelings that I endured with my mom and make sure I didn't bestow all of those feelings on my children. I wasn't perfect, but I was a work in progress. And I'm still a work in progress. But we getting there. And you're going to be great, sweetheart, because you want to do this. Your heart wants you to do this. The love for your children, your son, it wants you to do this. So you guys are on your way to a very, very, very great start. It's never too late to love your child. It's never too late to correct your wrongs. It's never too late to make your son or your daughter feel as though I'm here. I
That's
probably
right.
wasn't here in the past, but I'm here today.
That's right. And let me tell you, I love it. I love I love looking at him. I love talking to him. Uh, of course, you know who his mother is, so he sometimes can be very blunt and straightforward. But I listen. I love every bit of him. And it doesn't matter. And that's the thing too. I never wanted to get caught up in disliking her so much that when he has qualities of her, I dislike him because he's like her. I never want to be that parent. And I'm glad that I'm not that parent because then I wouldn't be able to enjoy him. I wouldn't be able to enjoy him. Because he came from me and her, so he has qualities like her. It is what it is. But he's so great.
Well, let me just say this. You can take, so a lot of our kids suppress what they really want to say. If you think about when you were growing up, every time a young kid said something in front of a grown up, the first thing that grown up say, you can't say that. Then when we
Yep,
go to school, what we're doing is molding and training our children not to speak up for themselves.
Yup.
Right. And so
yep.
what takes place is you have to take that assertiveness that he has. So whatever he has that his mama has given him, she's assertive, he speaks up. You just have to groom that. That's a good
That's
quality.
right. That's
You
right.
just have to mold that to
That's
where
right.
he understands this is when you project that because it's going to be most effective. If you use this type of verbiage, people ain't going to listen to you. But if you say it this way, people will listen to you. It's a time and a place.
That's funny you
So,
said that. That's
mhm,
funny you said that because that's what I told him. I said, listen, I can't stop you from because he talks tough. He doesn't let anybody push him around. So I told him,
mhm,
if you gonna talk tough, let me teach you how to back it up. First, let me teach
mhm,
you how to say words right, so nobody can out talk you.
mhm,
Then we'll worry about being tough enough to be able to take whatever somebody say to you, so you don't
mhm.
buckle when they come at you. And that's what I told him. I'm gonna take those qualities and we gonna make something out of those qualities. That's what we doing, and that's what we gonna keep doing.
Yeah. And also remind him how strong silence is. See, silence is a
Mm,
killer because people can come at you and say all sorts of things. That silent killer is real. And it gives you time to think. When you are asserting yourself and always got to come back and always got a good read, you really ain't thinking. You really ain't on your top. You really ain't on base. You're not focused. You're not founded. Your foundation is rocky. But when you can
yep.
listen to what somebody's trying to come at you, you see their angle, you can read them, and you can hear them better when you're quiet. So also mesh that in. So he has to learn the balance.
Hmm.
Okay.
Got it.
You got to learn the balance.
Yep. See.
So I can definitely appreciate a male figure stepping, taking that step, despite. whatever hand you were dealt, because I don't know you, young man,
Mhm.
but I'm pretty sure dealing with the relationship you were in, it's probably been a very rocky road for you. I don't know the specifics, so I'm just going to be fair. A-
Yeah, it was pretty rocky. It
And I
was
can
pretty
only
rocky, and
go ahead.
I, but I believe that that's God's way of saying that things ain't gonna be easy, but you got to know how to manage them. I think that that's still even in the midst of everything, you still got to know how to be grounded, and that's one of the things that I've tried to do is no matter how much things have got me tried to get me down, I've tried to stay grounded, and that's one of the reasons why I refuse to. I let me say this: I try my hardest not to say anything negative about her.
Hmm. So bringing up another parent can always be a learning experience. I had a tough time with my kid's father, and it's not really saying nothing negative, but you can always remind a child on, this is mom's way, and I am
Hmm.
dad, and this is dad's way.
Right.
Okay. And then you can give him an option of an outcome. Doing it mom's way might give you this outcome. But if we really
Gotcha.
think and do it dad's way, then this could be the outcome. You can give these kids a choice because a lot of us don't have options. We take the options away from our kids and say, you're going to do this, and you're going to do it just like this. You ain't raising a substantial individual. You have
Yeah.
to let them see the good and the bad, the yin and
Yeah.
the yang. You got to give them an option. A lot of us don't have options because we've been stripped of them. You feel me, Dad?
Oh, I feel it. I
Okay.
I agree with you 110%.
And you're going to raise an exceptional, despite what's been dealt, despite where he came from. He got a dad that has an open mind, an open spirit. This is growth for you. You're growing every single day when you see this young man and you talk to your son and you kiss him on the forehead and you give him more and more knowledge and education. You are growing. He's growing. This boy he can change the whole world because now he has a new deck of cards.
Mhm. It is funny you say that because that's one of the conversations me and my wife had. Me and my wife has conversated about this many times. Is you know my boys teach. I only have boys, and each one of my boys have taught me how to be a better dad.
Mm,
Um, and the one even my stepson has taught me how to be a better dad, a better stepdad. Um, and so the first week he was in the house, uh, my wife was like, "What are you feeling?" I said, "I feel
mm,
like he's making me a dad that don't give up. He's making me a better dad by teaching me how not to give up and why you shouldn't give up." And that was the first week.
mm.
So, it's been week after week of me learning him and him learning me. Uh, where I thought I had to build a certain, I was nervous about what relationship I would have to build with him.
Mm,
And everywhere I go, he wants to go,
mm.
and everywhere I go, I want to take him. So I've learned to, you know, you know, some of my boys are like they teenagers now, so they don't always want to hang out with me.
Right.
But to have him in the house and have him say, you know, hey, I want to go with you. And I'm like, okay, let's go. You know, and
Yeah.
then I have a lot of my male friends have children too, and we're all the same. So like this Saturday, we went out, we hung out with my friends, and their kids was there. So not only is he just seeing his dad be like this, but he's seeing other dads be like this. And that's the thing that I was hoping that I would be able to get to show him. Because I don't want him,
Mhm.
I got to see what was happening in the other house, and I just wanted him to know that that's not how it's supposed to be. And listen,
Mhm.
again, I say it, I can't say it enough. I just prayed to God to see him. That's all I did, and God gave him to me. Jesus,
Okay.
Jesus,
Yes,
if
Jesus.
that ain't enough testimony, Jesus.
Well, that was you manifest your boy. Now, do you mind? So I don't know you. Do you mind if I ask you just a few questions so I can understand what's happening here? And you
Okay,
got
go
me
ahead.
so so when you met her, were you already in a relationship?
No,
Okay.
I met her. I met her. I met her at a time where I thought I was ready to grow a family, and
Wow.
I believe she was. I believe she. I feel like I told her too much, right? I think when we first started dating, I told her too much. I put all my cards out there, and I believe that you put too many cards out there, somebody can play to those cards. But once I realized that the cards that was being played, this wasn't that person, um, I pulled back.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but it was too late because I already had, did something that, I'm now teaching my boys not to do, which is I wasn't responsible enough not to have unprotected sex. I wasn't being responsible. That goes back to the part that I wasn't ready. Um, so when I met her, my that was my expectation. But things changed. I mean, and it didn't take long. It was weeks. Things changed in weeks. You know,
Okay. Can I ask another question? So,
yeah.
how old is this boy with her, and how old are your older sons?
My older sons. Jesus, you ready for this one?
Yeah.
uh, I have a outside of him, which is 8. I have a 21, 17. My 17-year-old. I've been raising him since he was 8. Um, I got a 13-year-old. I got a 9-year-old, and then I have him, and then I have a 9-month-year-old.
Okay. Now, how many baby mamas?
Too many.
Okay. Okay. Got All
Too
right.
many.
So,
I have, and that's one of the things that I often talk to my kids about is don't do it the way I did it because the one thing that I dislike is having them all in different homes.
okay.
Um, have your kids in one home, and then you don't have to spread yourself thin because you're all in one home and you can do things together. I think that's one of the other blessings too, is that as as a whole, like the first week he came, all my boys was at the house at once.
Mm.
And that
Wow.
I think that was the first time I really felt complete, like it made sense. They were all there, they were playing. Um,
You felt like
we
a
were
whole man. You felt like a man.
I did.
Uh,
They were kicking it with each other. They didn't need me to talk. They were on each other, you know, and they understood that he needed to be loved a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And their whole thing was, no, we gonna show him how we love each other. Um, and that's how it was. They pulled him in. I didn't have to pull him in with my boys. It just gelled together. But to also answer your question, it's 3 mothers,
okay.
including my, well, not including my wife.
And I have another question. Charlie, am I okay to ask questions? Am I okay?
Yeah, no, I'll let you listen. I'll let Imp, for the people that don't know, I'll let Imp come over and take over for Roy's spot because I love a parent's perspective. So go ahead, Imp. You asking all
All right.
right. Go ahead, do your thing.
All right. So
Go
my
ahead.
next question is, when I hear you speak, I hear a man, I hear responsibility, I hear a solid individual. You're going places, you're doing things, you understand life and responsibility.
Mhm.
When you first met this young lady, who did you see in her? What did you see?
Um, I'm not. It wasn't what it's not what I saw. It's what I wanted to see. I saw a lot of things. I wanted her to be something because at that moment, I wanted a family. I didn't want, at that point, I had had two kids' mothers, and I was like, I want something solid. I want a foundation. So I think more than anything, I was forcing the relationship and not paying attention to red flags. I wanted it so much that I ignored the things that I should have been looking for.
Well, what was a
Does that
major
make
red flag that you noticed about Angelic that you ignored?
her anger?
Mm,
Mm.
Her anger is what I ignored. Um, and then it was her manipulation.
mm,
Um,
Oh, that's a good one.
and
Yeah.
the the anger came first, and then when she didn't get her way, the manipulation came second. And I wasn't mature enough, and I was old enough, but I wasn't mature enough, and I wasn't listening enough to know it was time to back out when I should have. And that's another thing too that I also say to males and other men. You have to be, this is what I tell my boys. Do not date until you are mentally and emotionally ready to take on a woman.
Mm.
Um, and the reason I say that is mostly because of things I've dealt with her. Um, I wasn't ready to see certain things, and I wasn't ready to take on certain things, and I was pushing something that wasn't there. And I think a lot of people do that too.
we all do. But what do you think caused that? Were you dealing with a broken heart? Why were you so
Oh
desperate?
yeah, oh yeah, I was dealing with a broken heart. Oh yeah,
Gotcha.
from my previous relationship. Oh yeah. Um, it was yeah. I was. Let me say this. I wasn't in love with my relationship. My relationship prior to that was my kid's mother. Um, and I stayed in that relationship because I thought it was the right thing to do. Um, and I was unhappy for years. I was unhappy. But I did it because it was the right thing to do. I took a lot of punches because I thought it was the right thing to do. People always say, stay with the kids because it's the right thing to do. And so I listened to these things. I paid
Mm.
attention to it's the right thing to do. And I became, you know, I was hurt and I didn't even know I was hurt. I didn't realize I was hurt until just before I got married in marriage counsel.
Wow. You know what? That's believable though, because we all find out about, hurt. We tend to find out about it later on. So I do have a question though. Does Hezekiah question when is he going back home ever since he been with you? Has he ever questioned that?
Um, I I want to really tiptoe around this because I don't want to offend anybody.
Mm.
Um,
Got you.
but I had a long conversation with him, and um, this is the first time I've said this out on this app. I had a long conversation with him, and after the conversation I had with him, I filed paperwork for uh to have sole and physical custody of him.
Mm.
I
Mm.
would have never done that
Good for you.
if I didn't have the conversation with him.
Can I have ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, the young man, does he ever ask about his brothers and sisters?
Oh, he sees them. He sees them.
Oh.
I'm not that parent. I'm not that parent. My 17-year-old, when he stayed with me and he had other brothers and sisters, I am an advocate of call your mom. Me and my wife make sure he calls his mother on her birthday. My wife keeps up with dates better than me. So
Mm.
we on top of that. We don't listen, let me tell you how I work. When he came into the house, when he was coming, when I thought that he was coming, not only did I talk to my boys, but I talked to my kid's mother. We do this together. I talked to my
Mm-hmm.
kid's mother and I let her know what was going on and this and this. We do this together. I don't, I, when you come into this, and that was one of the things that bothered me with her, you have to understand that I have other kids. You coming into this world, and
Right.
we have to be respectful to each other. And because I brung all of y'all together, I have to make sure that you guys be respectful. And that was the thing about it. And I'm respectful to them. So I told her, I told my kid's mother, listen, he's coming in. This is what it is. There you go. You can prepare for it. I don't want you not allowed, and even she's not that person, but I want to make sure that when he comes here, everybody is in the understanding that he's my child and you can't do nothing about that.
Mm.
No,
A real
no
man.
negative, no my kid over this kid. No, he's coming into this, and this is what it is. I've always been like that, and that's just how I am.
Okay. I have another question.
Go ahead.
In regards, I mean, and it's probably a little far fetched, but because I don't know how much we should pry, are all the other kids under one roof, or are they all scattered out? Like, where are the other kids all situated?
The other kids, as far as I know, is with the other dad, and with other family members.
Yeah, the
Um,
the Angelica's dad's ex-wife or wife, something like that. Some lady named Stephanie. Yeah, but they're scattered around all over, basically, like you
Okay.
said.
So
but
dad,
but
when you plan
yes, go
play
ahead.
dates, who are you contacting for them to meet? Like, where are they meeting up? Like, how is the young man seeing his other siblings?
Oh man, we having fun. Listen.
Good question.
I've said this before. I've said this to people. I've never said this over here, but listen, if you left it up to me, I would have took every single one of her kids. Now my wife would have told you we can't afford that. So, but when we go out and we meet, we go into places where they can have fun and be themselves. We go into places that they can run around. We go into play places. We go into places where, you know,
Oh, he must have got a phone call,
I'm
y'all.
sorry.
Okay, there you go.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry. We go into places where they can be themselves, where they can be kids, and I like to go places where we can be kids with them too. Go
Mm-hmm.
kart racing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Go, playing where we can do things too, and you can feel like we can feel like we apart. And
So
that's
who do
the
you
thing that for
actually?
me.
So
Right, Dan.
so Jerrod, who do you? I think what she was asking was she wanted kind of more context on who do you like go through to set up those arrangements with the other kids that's not in your
I go to
house.
them. I go to them, the
Oh,
parents. I don't need no,
gotcha.
listen, I don't need no court. You don't need court when you're a reasonable person. You only need court when you dealing with somebody that's unreasonable.
He means the people that has custody of the other kids, y'all, like their
Yes,
parents
the
as
other
well. That's what he's
because
saying.
because and the reason I have to say it that way is because they're not all the parent, the dads.
Yeah,
You get what
like
I'm
the
saying?
guardians. Yeah, I
Yeah,
got you.
yeah, guardians. I should have said guardians. Right. I should have said I talked to the other guardians. I'm sorry. That's what I should have said. Yeah. I mean, and I have a decent relationship with them, and the same relationship that I have with them, I would have extended. That's what I was trying to extend to her.
Mm,
You get what I'm saying? That's. I don't think that in these years I've been unreasonable with the things that I said. I just wanted it to be like how it is now. But you got to be respectful to everybody because this is
Wow.
a sticky situation. This is a sticky situation I put everybody in. So, being that I'm the father of these children, I have to bring y'all together. People got to be respectful. That's it. And I don't need to say y'all know who my son's mother is. Respect is not the first is not her stronghold.
mhm,
Yeah, you're right
You
about that, man. She's definitely big on disrespect. And I've seen her to this day mention your name. So for the people in the comments and the viewers that have something negative to say about this man speaking on my platform, y'all cannot be mad. He has every right. And he's still not bashing this woman. So this should tell you the type of man that he is.
and
So
and I also knew
go ahead.
nothing about this app. I knew nothing about this app until she came over here and brought me over this way.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. And I that's the only reason why I knew about you, Jerrod. That's the you remember I told you. That was the first thing I
Hmm.
told you. That's the reason why we was able to find you. So a question though, let's back it back up. Let's back up to court. So in court, were you aware of anything as far as Detroit Police Department investigating Angelique? Do you know if that's still I mean, Angelic Muriel.
So
Do you know if that's still a investigation open? Do you know anything about that?
so that all of that gets very tricky, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I try to stay away from
Mhm.
it because it can be stressful. Um and listen, man, I'm so excited to have my son that I try to stay away from a lot of it. If it don't
mm,
have to do with my son. Um, but all of those are different courts, right? So you have family court, right? You have you got family court, and I may say it wrong, so forgive me. Uh, it is juvenile court. You got family court, and then you got criminal court. So she is dealing with stuff in all these different courts. Um, that is so I'm only trying to keep up with my stuff, which is in family court and the juvenile court. That's already enough for me, you know, um, because it's exhausting. It's exhausting, to
Could
just
imagine.
keep up with that. And you can only, and again, I don't have to say anything bad. Y'all know who my kid's mother is. She does not make anything easy. She does not make anything just easy going for anybody. So you can only imagine how after dealing with court, you gotta decompress.
mm,
Correct. So
mm.
after all of this, let me ask you this: how is your mental? Are you okay? Like, how have you been holding up?
um, Before I say that, I want to say this. I was asked by somebody, why do I keep coming on this app? And I backed away after they asked that question. Um, but other hosts came to me and said, no, you need to talk. We don't need to hear the hooping and the hollering. We need to hear somebody who really is happy, excited, and just happy that things turned a certain way. Um, I'm overly happy. Um,
Mm.
if you can't tell, I'm overly happy. Um, that's one of the reasons why uh I did come on here because I'm overly happy. Uh, a little stressed financially, just because attorneys cost. And
Mhm.
because she's not making it easy, it costs. So you got to imagine, I'm bringing in, I have to get him settled in. I'm paying for court. I'm paying bills. So, it does get a little taxing, but I wouldn't trade it for nothing. Like
Yeah.
having him in the house just makes sense. And like I said, I can't trade it for nothing. Um, but mentally, I'm good. Uh, I'm good when I drop him off at school. I'm good when I see him. I'm good when I see my other boys play with him. I'm good when, I see my wife. My wife does homework with him. So it's not just me doing homework. My
Wow.
wife do homework with him. You see the picture, Charlie. My son does
Yes.
homework. My son
Yep.
does homework with him. We are in this together. So it's really me and my wife got this thing where we say to ourselves, is your love cup full? And my love cup is full. Mentally, I'm good. I'm mentally good. Financially, I'll figure it out. Um, you know, I'm breaking that habit of not of asking for help. I'm so good at trying to figure things out myself that I don't ask for help. But I'm starting to break that because I need to break that.
Yes,
But
and nothing's
mentally, I'm
wrong with
good.
that. You're so used to being the one to figure it out. And it's okay not to be able to figure it out and receive help. You know what I'm saying? It's not even just about that. Sometimes we have pride. So y'all please put this man CA in the comments. It's JAYMO121. And let me tell y'all something. I'm gonna get him a wish list so we can get the gifts and whatever y'all can donate to get to the kids. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people would love for you to do an Amazon wish list. They actually wanted you to
I'm
do that
I'm
on the
working.
first
I'm
interview.
working on. I'm working on it. I'm working on one. But
Okay.
I also wanna say this too. I got a PO box, and the reason I got a PO box is, listen, um, I'm good for things like, he loves to draw. If you want to send paper for him to draw, I know it's a lot of social workers that be on here. I know it's a lot of teachers on here. If you just wanted to send books for him to read, I'm send it to the PO box. Books. Um, looks and phonics, anything. I'm good at taking things that's helping him get better too. So that's why I put up a PO box, because I know it's things that people probably not using. I know a lot of people who we got books and and scraps that we don't use. Listen, I take that. Those are things that is going to help his development. And like I said,
Mhm.
he loves sports. He loves basketball. He loves football. His spirit, his competition, like he has a
Let me,
spirit of a competition spirit. I'm good with people sending me stuff, to the
yeah.
PO to help
So
him.
so the
I,
PO
I'm
box, the PO box, real quick, because people have a short time span. I want to make sure because they ready to write it down.
Yeah,
It's
I got
PO
you.
box 99725, Troy, Michigan 48099. So again, PO box 99725, Troy, Michigan 48099. Okay,
And
y'all. So y'all can put that in the comments. Go ahead, Em.
and and Jerrod, I know we're gonna be wrapping up very soon. I just want to commend you because I'm assuming that your father taught you, and now you're teaching your sons, and then your sons are going to teach their sons. That's kind of how this go.
I hope so.
And
And my dad passed away like my dad passed away like 6 years ago. 6 or maybe 7 years ago. And I always say this, my dad was a dope man. Uh,
mm-hmm,
I was the only child between my mom and my dad. My brothers and sisters' dad died of cancer. And then my dad came in and helped my mom with my other brothers and sisters.
beautiful.
He didn't have to. It was just his spirit. And I see things in my boys that's like my dad,
Hmm.
which that brings me joy.
That's a
Man,
generational
that
imprint.
brings me joy.
That's a generational
And
imprint that will never leave you, and it'll never leave your kids.
oh man, and I think that's why I love it so much. Uh, I I was I say this all the time. I'm an engineer, but I believe that God always wanted me to be a dad. I'm a better dad than I am an engineer. If I
I
could
think you're
find
doing.
a way,
I think you're architecture on both of them. You're designing your life. You're designing your boy's life. You're not
I
waiting
am.
until they become a man. You grabbing them while they're boys. That's architecture. That's fatherly architecture. That's it.
And that's and I'm telling you, this is all I wanted to do uh, for all those years. And now I'm grateful that it's happening. And so now that's my thing. Before when I dealt with her, I was embarrassed to say it before. I've heard people say to me, and listen, and let me say this first too. I'm not one of those people. If you send me 50 cent to a Cash App, I'm gonna take it. And the reason I'm gonna take it is because I have attorney fees. And the first time I was embarrassed to say it, but I'm not embarrassed now. I ran out of money while I was going after my son.
Mm,
I couldn't, I couldn't, I couldn't afford keep going back to court. I couldn't afford I was filling out paperwork and I would fill it out wrong. They would take my money and then I would turn around and I would have to pay for it again. I
Jesus.
would pay for court and then she wouldn't show up. I would pay to get her served and she would not take this serves. This time I do not want to run out of money. I don't want to run out of money. So like I said, I'm a little more open because I don't have all the money in the world. But I do
Mm-hmm,
know this. I want him to stay in my house. I believe I again, I'm trying to be careful not to say anything negative about her, but
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
believe that I can be the better parent for him. So if I could try to keep him in the house as much as I can, I'm going to do that. The paperwork, and again, I I know that she still got her case in one court, but I want to put my paperwork in so they know that I want my son before they make their decision. I'm not waiting on CPS to make their decision. I want them to know right now, I want my son. I don't need them. I don't need them to make a decision for me. I'm telling
Yes,
them I
sir.
want them. I'm
Yes,
letting
sir.
them know
As you
that I want them.
should.
and
As you
You know
should,
what I'm
Gerard.
saying?
And are
That's where I am.
can you speak on the child support? I know you didn't touch on that on this live. I know you spoke on it on the last interview, but for the people that didn't see that, can you kind of let us know where you're at with the child support? Like, how is that going? Are you still
So
paying it?
so that's another court. So that is another part of family court. Child support and family court runs along the same line, but they're two different
Wow.
things. So the
Mm.
issue is now I've already paid my attorney. I've paid, I got her working on getting me custody of him. Now the second half is me building enough money to get my child support dealt with because as of right now, she's still getting child support. She said that, and let me give you facts. Since she loved to Google, all right, I almost lost myself.
What?
Since people love to Google, I'm
Huh?
going to give you some Google facts. In the state of Michigan, when your children are taken or put into foster care, you get no, and you are not to get child support. Your rearage stops. Your child support stops. Everything stops.
Oh wow.
So you don't get rearages. You are getting our hard earned money from us taking care of our kids. You're getting
Ah,
that money. You call me a deadbeat.
thank you,
Never, I'm
Royce.
not gonna say that. But we still pay because that's what the court still makes us do. And we can't break that until we go into a court and see a judge. So as of
Okay.
right now, since the kid's been with us, I'm also paying child support for him. And I'm paying, so imagine my money is running thin. Paying her child support, attorneys, getting
Royce.
him settled in. So I'm working. I'm working and believing in God. Trust me.
Well, Jerrod, it's been a pleasure meeting you. I'm gonna go ahead and pull out and let Royce come in with Charlie. But let me just say this to you: you are a very wise man, very wise because your father made sure of that. Follow in his footsteps and do the right thing by your boys as you've already been doing. But I also want to say this to the women. There's a lot of us in here today. Ladies, if you got a good father in your children's life, don't make this hard. Don't make this hard because all you're doing is giving your kids lack of fatherly education, lack of love. There's a whole nother sector of love and education that these kids can be
Yes.
getting. If he's
Yes.
good, let him enjoy and let him help you raise those children. Please.
And,
I'm out. Thank you, Charlie, for
Imp, you
having
don't
me.
have to
and to
drop. You were good.
and to add
Royce,
and
come
to
up.
add to what you said, and let me add this too to what you said. Some men are not good husbands, are not good boyfriends, but they can be great dads. Just because they weren't good boyfriends and good husbands doesn't mean that they can't be great dads.
That's right. Shoot. Yeah.
You're a blessed man. You have a big heart. Don't ever change. Your tears are purity.
I'm gonna try.
Continue to cry, continue to pray, continue to fight, and continue to love your boys. You're going to manifest your blessings. All the money that you want is coming. Everything you need for attorney's fees is coming. All that child support is going to be stopped. Everything you need to fulfill that boy's life and your family's life is going to take place and is taking place now. You are good. You're okay.
I receive.
Amen.
All right.
Hey,
I love
Royceful.
you.
Royce is up
Charlie,
here,
Royce.
Gerard.
Yes. Hello, hello,
Hey,
hello, guys. I know I'm
come
late to the
on.
Hello.
party. I didn't want to interrupt. But Mr. Gerard, hello, hello, Charlie. Hello, everybody.
Oh, I got some words for you, Royce.
Oh, Lord, I'm nervous.
I got some words for you.
Y'all want to call it a night?
um,
I'm nervous.
I want to start off. I want to start off by saying thank you because that last interview we did, you told me to stop and you told me to think about how he's feeling when he can't
Yeah.
get away, and you made me stop being angry and start thinking logic. And
Yes. Amen.
that that's qualities, and that's qualities of, and let me say this too, because that's qualities of what I say to my friends and I say to my sons, of a woman that's worth being married to, because I personally believe that a woman that can do that is a woman is a woman that can guide her family. And I just want to I just want to say thank you for saying what you had to say, even if it was harsh, even if it was you were just upset at me because I wasn't being a father or I was making excuses. You still hit it at me, and you did it
Yes.
in a loving and kind way. So I wanted you to be in here because I felt like I needed to say that directly to you, not through a message, not through
Oh,
not through anything. You deserve to hear that in front of
Yes,
people
sir.
like you told me in front of people. So I just wanted to give you, show you some love by saying that.
No, and I thank you for acknowledging it. It's not easy doing what we do, interviewing you guys and trying to get to know you guys on a personal level because we have to turn around and attain what's in your shoes. And you guys have a heavy load that you're carrying each and every single day. And so I really thank you. I thank you. I'm smiling from ear to ear right now. I wish you could see me. Um, I'm just thankful and I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful that you just took what we all said into consideration and took responsibility, even though it wasn't the easiest thing to say. Because in these moments, you would think we're just leaning on one side and favoring one side. But no, I try to step back and really look at the whole picture and totality and give my best advice and opinion. So I really thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so
Well,
much.
it was
oh,
again, it was received, and if you if nobody's told you, and I get it. I know how people are on
Hmm.
this app, and I'm gonna
Yes,
say it, and I'm gonna say it like this. Everybody, you guys work this app, and you don't like everybody you work with. So I get that people may not have their feelings about you and Charlie, but I'm gonna say it like this: when somebody has an impression on my life, I let them know. And it's other hosts too that got in contact with me on the back end respectfully, and thank you to them. And everybody know who they are who talk to me. Everybody know. I never and when they came to me, I never came to them with cussing them out or nothing, but
right.
they know who they are, and I'm thankful for them too. And trust me, I
But we,
said this was I said this was gonna be my last interview. But I did let a few hosts convince me that, I need to really continue to spread some positivity and love. Um, so I may do a few more, just to put in atmosphere, how happy I've been.
yes,
I am. It's not easy. Financially it's not easy. But I love every bit of it. I love
yes.
waking up to them. I love cooking for them every Sunday and every Saturday. I wake up and I cook for him. While he watch cartoons, I cook. I
Mm,
love those moments. I get to talk to him. I get to ask him things about himself. I get to find out things. He gets to know me. I get to know him.
yes.
And if it wasn't for some of the people on this app, I wouldn't even knew how to get in touch with her. She would have kept dodging me. She would have kept.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm appreciative of everybody, and the app ain't all
yeah.
evil. It's how you take
Yep,
it.
and it's sure
Yeah.
not all evil. Shout out to you, Royce, because you definitely did your big one. You definitely, like you heard him, you gave him some good advice, and it stuck with him. So, like I said, we don't. People don't. They love to judge the work that we do, Royce, but that
Yeah.
alone should tell you that it was a bigger picture at hand. You know what I'm saying? Other than just us
Amen.
gathering tea. You feel me?
Yes.
A lot of
And
people was affected in a positive way. Go ahead, baby.
no, and I was just about to say that sometimes, we do a little one too, but we're bringing awareness or we're trying to get some type of resolution or resolve. You know what I mean? It's always some type of light at the end of the rainbow. So I'm glad this came out to be this way. And like he's saying, he's experiencing his child. You know what how much of a blessing that is to experience your baby and learn your baby after years of not being able to bond with your child, and you finally can. Like moments, small moments like that, you're gonna cherish forever, and your
Yeah.
baby's gonna love you forever and ever. Every time you've cooked, every time you guys prayed, every time you teach him something new, he's gonna take it forever and ever and ever. You're gonna always be a large part of his life. So for this room and this panel and this app to have came out on top in regarding to this situation, I'm speechless. Like I'm just
Oh,
I'm tore up down here. I didn't know I
me
was gonna
too.
come and do this, but yes, I thank you. Thank y'all for coming. Not your stories. Thank
Yes, thank you so much, Race, for co-hosting this with me, sister, starting this with me, and thank you for coming to, talk to him at the end, baby. I appreciate you so much. Couldn't have done it without you, and thank you, Auntie Imp. Thank you so much, Jerrod, and Race. Before we go, I'm gonna let you end off on your last notes. Do you have anything you want to get off your chest, Jerrod, real quick before we end this interview?
Um, I've already said it enough. Listen, we whatever you call your religion, whatever it is, whoever you pray to. Listen, sometimes you pray for second chances. Sometimes you don't do things right the first time, and if you believe in God, you get the ability to do it again.
you. Amen.
And not everybody gets to do it again, but I was able to do it again, and I'm gonna do it different this time. So
Yes,
don't give,
amen.
don't beat yourself up to the point where you don't make a move.
Yes, absolutely,
And thank you
absolutely.
so much, Jerrod. And make sure y'all can support him at JAYMO121. That's a CAJAYMO121 for Hezekiah. And thank you so much, Jerrod, for your time. And definitely stay in contact with me. If it don't always have to be just for, you know what I'm saying? If you need advice or just anything, brother, I'm here for you. I just appreciate you. And thank you for doing everything you've been doing. Appreciate you, man. Have a good night. All right, Royce, do you have anything you would like to say, baby, before we end?
I just want to say that Charlie, continue to be great. Continue pulling out great stories like this, and continue on prospering and being successful on this app. I was able to meet you in real life, and like I said on my live today about being able to meet you guys and experience you guys is one thing on the app, but it's another thing in person. And people don't know how much of a big heart you really have. When we were all together, you took care of the ladies and you considered the ladies and you was making sure everybody was all right, like each and every single second that we hung out. And
Oh,
I just thank you for being you and thank you for pulling out great things like this. Shout out to the angels. And I look forward to more stories coming out with a positive outcome. Yes, I
yes,
do.
girl.
I do. I
You know
do.
we got way more. We just getting started. Thank you so
We
much,
just
Royce.
get
You know I love
started.
you down, baby.
Love you,
Period.
baby. Mwah. See you later.
Mwah. All right, see you later, sis. We did it again, period. Y'all know I love my motherfucking race. Like, look, we gel so good on Bigo and in real life. And I love me some M. Look, after that link up, we solidify. You know how you link up with somebody and you just know it's real. You know it's real. Look, y'all gonna be mad if y'all want to, but we just getting started. Period. All right, make sure y'all follow me. Y'all can follow M Race. Everybody that was a part of this, make sure y'all follow them. I don't think Cooper wanna come over here and talk. I invited Cooper up. I don't think Cooper wanna talk, y'all. What's wrong with Cooper? Cooper, you okay? They said you swinging in the comments. Hold on, let me add you up. Cooper, I'm inviting you up. Look, are you okay? They said you was going off in the comments. He being disrespectful. That's not him. Oh, that's the troll. No, I follow that page. That gotta be him, y'all. All right, let me switch to a solo live.